Match day jumpy, boots on turf. Coys in the cami, I'm putting in work. Cool like smoke from the capo's perch. South back shelling man, a vibe to berserk. C3 at 8, flats get waved. Locos, loco, they can't be tamed. Burgundy and blue run deep in veins. Rapids blood, it floods my brain. Roll cam early, the streets get live. Pre-game chaos, chance outside. During the game, it's war in the stands. Post-match scenes, pure mayhem, fam. Real with the vids, no cap, no filter. Mile high hotspot, I'm that builder. Voice of the fans, I ain't no poser. Denver streets to the pitch is culture. Leo Coys, that's the name. South Bang lad, I rep that flame. C38, locos wave. Colorado Raptors, we don't play games. Subscribe, and lock it, never miss the vibe. It's the Mile High Hotspur. Rapids content raw and certified. Leo Coys.
Yes, my homies, welcome to the Mile High Hotspur. My name is Leo Coys, and I am joined by some homies today to talk pitties and vibe out. I'm going to start off with the homie Judgmental Jim making his debut on the channel. Crash, we'll get to you in a second, my homie. You get the floor all the time, but today we have the homie Judgmental Jim. How we doing, my homie?
Good. Just a standard work day for me, and it's 8 o'clock at night here, and we're about to start a wonderful pod stream. So, huge fan of the intro song, by the way. I don't
Let's
think I ever
go.
heard it before, and dude, it was bumping in my living room before we started. So a nice little amp up for sure.
Let's go. Appreciate that. Yeah, like I was saying earlier, I haven't been able to put it out there, but now we're doing it and talking about doing it. The homie that helps me do these streams on a regular basis, Crash. How are we doing, bro?
Oh, doing great. It was a nice day at work today. It's a little hot here in Denver, so it's nice to be nice in my cool basement here, chilling out with the homies. As we were talking before, it's Jim and I have been tweeting and chatting virtually for a long time, and it's
For a long
nice
time.
to have him join us. So
Yeah, it's great to be here.
Absolutely. And the party is honestly just getting started. We do have the homie Logan who will be joining us as well. We will be talking about we do have some talking points but tonight, but Crash, just anything, where would you say you wanted to start this show off? I mean, just it doesn't have to be what we talked about earlier, but where would Crash like to go, on this show today, my homie?
the first thing that I do want to address that wasn't really kind of our talking points today is let's just give a hand and an applause and congratulations to R2 for that epic comeback win last night. Holy crap. I could not believe that final score. I mean, was it 6-4?
6-4.
The comeback, and they were down 4-2 in the at the beginning of the second half. It was nuts. So applauded for those boys out at DU. Never quit. I gave them the obligatory I didn't hear no bell gif in their celebration tweet. And I think even Zach Campanola's mom liked that tweet. So I know she's a regular and a big supporter of the club and all those boys. And so I just want to say congratulations to them. I was really proud to see them. As a coach, seeing a team that goes down, they can put their heads down and they can just kind of like, this is a loss, but they didn't. They took some pointers from the old pitties against Seattle the other day and decided they wanted to come back and get the win on that one. So I was excited to see that one.
Nice. Honestly, bro, I'm glad you decided to start off with that one. I wanted to talk about that too, bro, all day as well, but it just slipped my mind. We do have a homie backstage as well. We're gonna bring him on.
Nice.
Not making his debut, but definitely. Let's go. You in here, Logan? How we bring you in?
Let him in. Let him in the curtains.
Yeah, let's go. Oh, let me actually change this 1 second, Logan. Let me do this, my homies. I might mess up the stream real quick, but we'll still be here. Hold on 1 second, yeah. There we go.
Got it.
That worked.
There you go.
That
Black
worked.
screen.
Yeah, I was hoping that we wouldn't mess it up. You good, Logan? we're gonna remove Logan because he seems like he's frozen. My homie was that excited to be a part of the stream that he froze up. Logan, you might want to back out, my homie, and then come back in, and then we'll see if we can't just do it that way. Yeah. My homies, I was saying, I thought the Rapids 2 match. So I just want to I have a say. I don't watch much Rapids 2, right?
Me neither.
I've never been to a Rapids
Guilty.
2 match. Yeah, we good, my homie? Thumbs
Hey,
up. There we go. Let's go.
Nice.
Get it.
Let's go.
Get it. Well, now we're cooking, my homies. Now we're cooking. Logan, first of all, I just want to say welcome back on the podcast, my homie. How was your day?
It was good. Thanks for having me.
Of course, bro. Of course, my homie. We're kind of just talking about the Rapids 2 match last night, and I'm going over one of my deepest confessions, talking about how I've never been to and I'm sitting here wearing the Rapids 2 jersey. Never been to a match, and the homie Greg invited me to go yesterday, but I had some stuff going on, and I couldn't make it. I'm bummed out, bro, because that was one of the matches you need to go to if you were going to go to a Rapids 2 match. I didn't know that some of our, I guess, I want to say more established squad players play in that level. For example, I didn't know Jackson Travis gets that much time. I didn't know that I would see Sam Bassett out there. You know what I mean? I knew the usual suspects would have probably made their appearance, but it was nice to see that these, I guess, senior players were getting some run out there. Jim, what's your thought on Rapids 2, bro? You kind of said that like you're not the most faithful of followers yourself. What's your opinion on Rapids 2, bro?
Well, Rapids 2, I really like Rapids 2. I like the idea of Rapids 2. I like the idea of having a B team. They play literally right down the street here, over in DU, which I'm not far away, which makes my excuse worse. But I don't go to Rapids 2 games. I've never been to a Rapids 2 game. I know our good friend Wanners has done a lot of Rapids 2 events and stuff, and I've always wanted to go, but haven't gone. Guilty not watching them. Missed out on last night, but I heard about it. I heard my good friend Ali Fadal got an assist, I believe.
He did.
So I'm happy with him.
The final scoreline was 6-4, correct?
6-4.
And
Yep.
did they come back from 4-0?
Yeah,
I wasn't sure if it was 4-0, but when I checked in, they were at 4-2. And
we were down 3-0 at half.
Yeah.
Okay.
We went into half. So I did see that. And then we went down 3-0 at half, and then we ended up scoring 2 quick ones. They scored 1, and then we ended up just piling them on. Yeah, it was hectic, bro.
And the winner came right at stoppage time, or like right at like 90 minutes, and it was like crazy.
Yeah.
Like they got 2 in stoppage time. Yeah,
for good measure.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Yeah. I'm not a huge R2 follower either, but I want to. I mean, they're on YouTube streaming, so if it's an odd day and I'm jonesing for some soccer, I'll throw it on and watch. They're always fun to watch and just have something on the background. But that was definitely a good one to go back and at least watch the last 20 minutes for sure.
Well, and first of all, I didn't know the game was going to be so late. Like the game was pretty late last night, bro.
Yeah,
so which is why I declined the invite because I thought like at that point in time I was not going to be able to make it. Dude, I didn't know it was going to be later on that night. I'd have loved to have been there, but you said something that caught me off guard yesterday too. Was the reason I started watching the game was because I seen their thumbnail on YouTube, and I'm like, hold on, what is this? So I started watching the game on YouTube, bro. So big up for that, man. That's dope, dude. That is dope. So look, my homies, we got some, thanks to Crash, we have a couple of talking points today. Definitely, there's no structure to the show, but today we had to go over and above the normal presentation that we do. So Crash was definitely helpful with these ones, my homies. But we definitely talked about this Crash on the last stream. Mm-hmm. We kind of touched on the deal, but it wasn't necessarily as progressed. It was more so of like a prominent rumor or something like that was gaining traction as to like where now I think the medical was done today. I think I seen the tweet from the Burgundy Wave. The medical was booked for today. They even tossed out some figures. And that's kind of like where we wanted to discuss this. And I guess, Crash, why don't you just go ahead and lead us off, bro? You kind of were throwing out some numbers and stuff like that.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, so like you said, it sounds like Cheeto is over in France right now with FC Nantes, and either his medical took place today or yesterday, depending on the time zone and difference, I would imagine. But looks like it's about a done deal as you can get, and from the reports I've been seeing online from the French reporters is that the deal is going to be announced sometime this week. So it's either going to happen right at the transfer date, or it's you'll get the final approval, here in the next day or so. So either way, it sounds like Cheeto will be staying over in France. The exciting thing about it is it looks like the deal's for about €1.5 million, which converts to about 1.7, 1.8, depending on the day, US dollars. So that's a pretty exciting figure if you think about it, right? I know, when they came in, when Cheeto and Ian came in, it was $1 million in GAM from Cincy. And so, that's the fact that we got two players, $1 million in GAM, there is a sell-on clause that's attached to both of those guys if we move them on. So I don't know what that would be, but I mean, even if that's 20, 30%, we're still well above our return on those guys. So, for me, the way I look at it is it's definitely a good business play from the Rapids, being able to take somebody, move them on for more money than we got for them. It will, we'll talk probably more about, the coverage of that, but definitely good play from the front office standpoint. And it's also a really good move from the front office standpoint, just from a player perspective and culture. From everything I heard, Cheeto is trying to get back with his family who was still over in Europe. And so the fact that he's going to be able to be closer to them, I can imagine was, another big thing. So the fact that you're able to do one right by the player and right by the club seems like good business for me. So I was excited to see that.
Yeah, that's a good win for the front office, doing something right by the club, considering other, not so, I guess, in the past transfers where there was problems with the players in the front office. Usually it was like just not signing contracts or leading them on maybe, and then not, finishing out a loan purchase. That's that. I wonder how much the word gets around in the like free agent community, so to speak, of hey, don't go there, or they suck. Because I'm sure we were on that list for a little while.
That's a good point. Yo, Logan, but I'm curious to know, like, just what are your overall thoughts, bro? Just of like the whole process. Just let me rewind a bit. Like Crash just said, we ended up getting both players because with the deal with Cincy was for Ian Murphy and Cheeto, right? And so how Crash said, we end up selling and getting more money anyways. So what is just like your overall thought, bro, from, bringing him in, seeing the way he took to the team, seeing the way the fans took to him, and then like now, bro, it kind of happened pretty quick, what I mean? And definitely out of nowhere for that matter. I'm interested to know how you feel about it. And then, I mean, I'm interested to see how the homie Jim feels about it as well.
Sure. I don't have a whole lot of thoughts on it besides, I mean, he played 2/3 of a season. I wasn't completely sold on him yet, but I wasn't like, get him out of here. He was a fine player, and making the profit or breaking even on his transactions, I think, is a stroke of luck that's welcome. I don't know if he would have fetched the same transfer price like within the MLS. It's just the Nantes, I'm sure, wants to fill a hole, and they've had Cheeto in their sights maybe for a couple years.
Well, he played there before. Yeah.
Oh, he did play there before? Gotcha.
Yeah. So he's basically essentially going like he's going back
Yeah, yeah.
to where he knows or he's known. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's lucky because we're getting rid of him, but it's fortunate that we're not losing out on this guy that only played here for 2/3 of the season, and he played pretty good, to be fair. Jim, you got anything?
Bro, Jay's. I'll toss it to you this way, bro. Just based off of what the homie said, if you look at it that way, we basically got Ian Murphy for free. Then you know what I
Free.
mean? For
Gratis.
free. Yeah, we got him for free. You know what I mean? So
Yep.
and not to pivot because I definitely want your opinion on Cheeto, but for free, Ian Murphy, bro, that's a snag.
Yeah,
Well, it's definitely an MLS lore trade of sorts when you look at it from a return standpoint of the Rapids. I like this move, guys. I really do. I wasn't sold on Cheeto, and a lot of people gave me stick for it. I just wasn't sold on him. He obviously wanted to go back, so it's if anything, it's doing me a little bit of a favor as a fan. But no, it's certainly he was a good player. At times I think he was inconsistent, and so is the whole team. Could be argued, but for the return that the Rapids got in this deal, I am satisfied with this business. Ian Murphy, like you said, essentially for free, and if he steps up to that starter role and plays well, that is an A+ deal in my opinion.
yeah. I think
Not a bad shout either.
I've liked Murray's play when he's played. I mean, to start the season off
I do
without
too.
Maxu the first couple games, I thought he played
And you can
great.
always recall big effing Michael Edwards like that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Very, very fast. And I think, he's not a ready MLS center back to be a starter, but big effing Michael Edwards can come in that 69, 70th kind of minute time and maybe do a job. So I'm not worried about this deal from a depth standpoint at all. It sucks that Stav Lemkin, obviously we talked about a few weeks ago on various areas, that he's not joining the club. So maybe that throws a wrench in the old plan of Poirier Smith, but I'm sure they'll muster something up if they don't believe in Ian Murphy or whatever options they have. So.
Good point. Yeah, in my opinion, just after kind of in the homies, I think perfect bit of business. I mean, I don't really
Yeah.
think the Rapids. I mean, for all I know, they probably had this in their mind the whole time. But I mean, I'm going to assume that this kind of just fell on their lap. The outgoing of Cheeto back to Nance. Like I feel like it kind of just fell in their laps. And I mean, for all we know, he was probably visibly, emotionally, or whatever, just taken by the whole situation. You know what I mean? Like,
His club
I
history suggests he's not very loyal to any club he goes to.
and that's probably,
Yeah.
there's a lot of people that just play football to make their earning and support
The
their.
next contract. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I'm just looking back at his transfer history. I mean, he's actually been relatively loyal to different clubs, and I don't know if his like FC Nantes was a loan, but I mean, he was, what is it, Porto? Oh, Porto B. Okay, so he was at Porto, went to Nantes. He bounced back and forth between Porto and a few other clubs, and then but he really hasn't been with anybody for really longer than 2 or 3 seasons. I mean, I think maybe. Yeah, he's kind of bounced around quite a bit. So, yeah, it's interesting to kind of look at that, and I think you kind of hit the nail there. Is he just he goes from contract to contract, and what's better for him and his family, and that makes sense. But yeah, it seemed to me, looking back at it, I had to almost feel like the deal from Cincy maybe was, hey, he's wanting to kind of get out, and nobody was going to let him get out of his contract that early. And probably couldn't shop him out. So they gave him the best deal, saying, "Oh, we'll get you the Rapids. Rapids will move you on after that." And maybe Ian was the sweetener of that deal to ensure we were covered, from a depth standpoint. So it does make a little bit of a sense if you kind of look at it from that perspective on why we got both for such a deal. And so maybe since he was, doing their best to be, to to be good by the player as well, and it just became a package deal to get it over the line.
Yeah.
Which it makes sense on the sell-on clause, where why they've got that added, so that way once we got him to where he went, if we made that money, we were going to kick back some of that to make Cincy feel a little more happy.
I love the hindsight that you get with these sort of deals. You start to look at it from the full picture and you see stuff like that. Like, I wouldn't have thought of that.
You start to piece it together.
Yeah. Well,
Right.
I mean, this probably came up, the deal with going to Liga, and when the Stav Lemkin stuff, kind of the rumors came out. It was probably a couple weeks before that is when the talks between the Rapids and Nons started.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and the funny thing is like we chatted about it a little bit. We the Stav Lemkin thing came up, and we were all expecting it was because Maxi was leaving. I've heard rumors of of him, the Saudi, and I've heard I've heard rumors that he's not a huge fan of just U.S. in general. It's just the culture is different than he's used to, and it's just not his favorite. But and I think that also makes sense why you see him with the Captain Armband lately. He's committed. He's going to finish out the season, and I think once that commitment happened, whether it's because Cheeto is moving on or otherwise, that's why you see him with the armband. And I'm all for it, and it seems like he's full on. Any chance I've had to interact with him, he's still Maxu. He's still kind of just that stoic, guy. But he seemed like he's genuinely happy to be where he's at. So I think he's just going to enjoy the rest of the season and move on after that. So maybe this and this winter we'll see a new crew at center back, or maybe we'll get somebody here in the transfer. But yeah, it's interesting to kind of look at how all the puzzle pieces kind of came together at the end.
And it we haven't really heard anything else about maybe anybody coming in, right? Or has anybody
not
heard
yet that I've heard
anything?
of?
No, it's been radio silence as far as the center back goes.
Yeah.
I would say that's I think everybody's opinion. I think was it even Tom Bogert was on the Rapids podcast that was they dropped it today, and that was what he was saying. They're kind of alluding to it. The departure of Cheeto, and I think everybody's kind of agreeing that even though we have an open DP slot, I think the center back, filling for Cheeto is going to be a priority. So I wouldn't be surprised if that's not a soon to happen, situation if they can find somebody.
Logan, you think they make it happen, homie, or do you think we ride it out the rest of the season and see what happens?
I mean, historically, we haven't been super active in this transfer window, but this year we have been. I mean, there's been this. What was his name? Stav or Stan?
Stav Lemkin.
Yes, Stav Lemkin. We've had that rumor. We got. I've seen reports of another winger, who's 22, coming in.
Yep.
I think if I had to bet money on it, my prediction would be we only sign that guy, and like our center back deal fell through, and they're not going to find a quick replacement. But I'm not too worried about the center back situation, especially. I mean, I felt that our form at center back has been pretty good the last 4 games. I thought last game Cheeto probably should have done better on the open net goal, but it was an open net goal too. Like there's blame to go around. Yeah, so I'm not too worried if we don't get the position filled.
Yeah. Jim, what about you, bro? What would be an ideal outcome out of this whole situation?
Ideal outcome would be you sign a replacement that's on par or better than Cheeto. The question is, do you have roster flexibility from an MLS roster standpoint? I don't think they do, because I think they are using this last international slot on this new winger coming in. So I don't know how all that works. Don't quote me on that. But that's it's what I presumably have seen. So I don't think there's a lot of flexibility. I could be wrong. I hope I'm wrong. but I would ideally like a replacement
Yeah.
player brought in. Maybe not a quick signing, but maybe an MLS trade, cash for deal kind of move might be the way to go. Proven center back. You don't want a mystery center back from the Uzbekistani league or whatever. Like you want somebody
Facts.
who can come in and do a job. And so that's where I would look is the domestic market, if anything. Maybe make a
I
deal.
I I think that I think for me, Jim, we definitely need to think about bringing somebody in. I agree. My ideal situation as well is they hire or they bring in somebody of equal or better ilk, if you will.
Mhm.
And the reason I say that, bro, is I know like just watching Ian Murphy, he could definitely slide right in there, and I don't think our defense is gonna skip a beat. My only issue is God forbid something happens from now until the end of the season. Even like let's just say something was to happen in these league run fixtures, you know what I mean? And now we're at a point where like we're okay, now we don't even have our backup now, which was supposed to be Ian Murphy, and now we're shit out of luck, and we have no way of bringing in a center back. You know what I mean? I'm not the I don't know how all the transfers and shit like that works. I don't know if we could like recall Michael Edwards just like that, or if we would have to, if we'd have to eat some sort of
Mhm.
penalty or something like that. So I'm not really up to date with how that would work. So I would probably just want to have all my ducks in a line before we even get to that creek. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, for sure. Well, and I think too, you look at the long-term play of it, we need to have a starting center back coming in this window, regardless, because I mean, all in likelihood, Maxu is going to be out his contract's up at the end of the season. Jim, I know we've got our Australian young center back potential coming in at the next season. But that's going to, you think we're going to have two brand new center backs starting in the league potentially or in the club
Well, and I have
coming in.
information. If I have information that Harrington could be flipped and not even play for the Rapids at any point. So
Hmm.
Right. And that's the thing, right? So if we don't even have that potential coming in, and then we're looking at, two brand new unknown center backs, to the club come in the winter. I would love to have somebody, outside of Ian to be our veteran club center back going into next season. Having two brand new ones and Ian being our top dog would be a little scary. Not that he's not
yeah,
capable, but just you'd
it's
want
not good
somebody a
on
little more
paper.
seasoned to me. Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. Right.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm looking at the current free agent list from the MLS. So I mean, these are people that we could,
It's
they're
rubbish.
mostly American, or some of them might have green cards and wouldn't take up an international spot. But the defenders that are on here, nobody
It's like
nobody
Nick
would play.
Besler,
Yeah, yeah, it's not great.
36
Nerwinski,
years
who played
old,
for
asking for a minimum.
Nerwinski,
Right.
who just got dropped from St. Louis after 6 months.
I will say, like you said, we've got, even Nate Jones is recallable, right? And so we need
Sure.
depth piece. We've got two USL, players out on loan at USL. We've got Keegan who can double as a center back. I would much rather Keegan jump in at center back than some unknown at this point if we needed it. And worst case scenario, we get down to the depth. We are stacked in midfield. Seattle was trying to get Josh to play center back, and so I think with Atencio as that like fourth in line potential, I think you're right, Jim. We do have enough depth to, if something didn't happen this window, to be okay. But I
It's
think
got to be a
ideally,
perfect
this
season through with no
right.
injuries, no issues, red cards, whatever. Yeah.
Yep, exactly.
Which were the Rapids. That's impossible.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean,
mm,
this is eerily similar to last season, though, right? Bombi left, and we were stuck with
mm,
Michael Edwards and
Abubakar.
Abubakar, right, and Maxu. So, it's not. This isn't abnormal for us, I guess you could say.
Sure.
Facts. That's a good
Yeah,
point. Good
Liam
point. Good point. Yeah. Um, Well, I know we like you said we have a couple of players out on loan. One of them, I'm very excited to see Bryce Jamison. Does that, I mean, anybody watch USL at all?
No, I don't.
No,
Okay. Yeah, I mean,
I've
I'm
been
not
meaning
gonna.
to catch. Yeah, I've been meaning to try to catch some of the Orange County games just to see. I know he's one of their starters, at wing, and he's a U.S. Youth national team player. I think under 21s, maybe under 23s, whatever version of that it is. But I know he's at least in that category. So not a bad place to be for a young winger. He's guaranteed for them for the rest of the season. So that's a 2026 prospect for us.
Gotcha.
Yeah, no, for sure. I know he's definitely for the future, and I know that he's a bit touted out there in the USL, at least where he's playing with Orange County or something like that.
Orange
Orange
County.
Um,
County. Yep.
Yep.
Yo, something that I guess we could talk about, because I'm curious to get your take on this as well, Logan and Jim, about the whole Kevin Cabral situation. I know he's gone, you know what I mean, and it is somewhat last week's news, but I'm definitely interested to hear, Logan, just the same. Like, what is your thoughts on how that went down, bro, and how quick that happened, and just what could be maybe the pros and cons to that, if there's any cons, but what would be just a, any type of pros and cons that you would see from that situation, Logan?
Sure. I mean, pro, we got a DP spot or an under 22 spot open. Pro, the club bought the bullet or bit the bullet because I don't know if I've ever. I mean, in my experience watching the Rapids, they've never waived the DP player, and I'm pretty sure that means they're still going to pay out his contract through the end of the
Maybe
year.
Skelton Gashi, but I might be wrong. Anyway,
Okay.
continue. I'm sorry.
Yeah. But I mean, it's a favorable thing. You can tell the team, like Armis, he quit using them about a month ago.
Oh yeah.
It must have been like they had to sit down and have a talk with him or something, And I think it was in due time, and it's good that they did it because then it frees them up for moves in this summer transfer window. So I don't see any con besides maybe locker room, but it seemed locker room has been okay with it. In fact, some of them seem to be getting irritated with Cabral visibly on the field when he would play for his last few appearances.
Yep.
Jim,
I think if anything, it's a pro in the locker room because of that.
It could be a pro.
So, I mean, not that he's a bad person, but I just,
No.
I know Leo and I talked about it a bit, but it's, somebody not performing at that high tag, you're going to get frustrated.
Absolutely. But
Yeah.
I do want to hear from the homie Jim, because out of all the homies, Jim has been the most vocal and
God
the
damn it.
most expressive of Kevin Cabral. The floor is all yours, Jim.
Dude, when I saw that post pop up on my phone, I
Thank
had
you.
to read it like three freaking times, dude, to make sure that I was seeing what I was seeing. It's an excellent move by the front office because it shows that the front office noticed the issue, right? And then had acted upon it. The cons to this problem are you had made this move in the first place, which is a little scary and shows the cheapness and the budgetness of the club at the time during transfers. They got this guy in for half salary because the Galaxy wanted to do the exact same thing we're doing right now. The club thought that they could take him in, maybe kind of rejuvenize the career, and it clearly didn't work. It was holding back the roster construction at this point because of how bad it was. I know me and Crash talked about this on Twitter a lot. Like, it was just holding so many things back when you have a player of DP quality, or who's touted as DP quality, not performing. And so Yeah, the Rapids did a really good job in just, kind of eating it and just kind of doing what they had to do. It sucks for Kevin. I've never interacted with him, so I don't know what he's like, but his career obviously didn't pan out in this country. I'm gonna do the random French League Two team roulette. We're gonna spin it, and he's gonna sign with US Avranches in League Two. Wait for that. It's gonna be 2 weeks. Back to you guys.
Could love that one, bro. I was gonna ask where do you think the homie will end up, but I think for sure, if nobody's gonna take a punt on him over here anymore, I think he's probably gonna go back home and pick up some
Yeah,
footy
he
over
has to.
there.
He has to. There's nowhere else to go. Who else is gonna take him? Auckland ain't gonna take him. Someone tried to say that, and I was like, hell no.
Is Cabral
It's
to
like hell
Auckland?
no. I was like, fake news. Fake news.
That's funny.
Yeah,
Yeah, no,
Crash.
he'll find his feet. He'll find his feet in France. I mean, he'll go home. He'll get like League Two club. Get his footing back. I think it's a mental game with him. I think he does have. There's talent there, right? I think there's an opportunity. He's fast. I mean, that speed alone, is enough for a League Two. Just jumping on, to try, and maybe that level will play better for him. So we'll see.
Well,
Yeah.
I
Wish him
think
the
he
best.
was a good player at one point, and I think I have a theory, and people are going to hate me for it, but the LA Galaxy slightly ruined him and slightly yipped him out. The Dontrell Willis effect for those baseball fans going way back
Mm,
when Dontrell Willis signed a big contract for the Tigers and then couldn't throw a strike. It's kind of a very, very similar effect. You sign with a big market team like the LA Galaxy, there's a lot of pressure on you, and you just don't perform, and then you don't perform for a consistent amount of time, and you get a lot of shit for it from guys like me, and so that takes a toll. Yeah, that
Yeah,
takes a toll.
that's exactly what I thought too. It's a big tag. That's a big weight on your shoulders to carry,
Sure.
and if you can't get that
And he was
past that
young.
mentally, yeah,
Yeah,
for sure,
yeah,
it's a lot for him. I mean, big pressure for somebody to come. I mean, it was almost he came in, if I remember correctly, more like kind of like Ricky Pooge came in, like had this big, excited, this new person
sure.
coming in. He's going to be
Yeah,
really good, and they had to get him out, and then Ricky, I think, came on the tails of him leaving, right? And so,
Yeah.
yeah,
Probably.
that's a lot of pressure for a young kid.
Yeah.
yeah. He wore the number 9 shirt there.
Mm-hmm.
damn.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, I mean, we're starting now to see Calvin Harris play in that position. Who do you guys see getting the most minutes there? I mean, let's say we don't get another winger this transfer window. Is Calvin Harris the only one that we're playing up there, my homies, or do we throw Yappy out on the right there? Or Logan, what would you do with that one, homie? Because it feels like he was really like besides him and Calvin Harris are only out and out right winger, or am I mistaken, bro?
Yeah, that's probably true. I mean, yeah, Yappy has filled that gap occasionally.
Right?
I think, but
Yes, yes.
I've been rating Calvin Harris for like 2 years. I've been thinking he's been underutilized, and I'm happy to see him starting. I think he's a baller, and like sometimes, I mean, well, Yappy kind of did it in this last game away at Seattle, but sometimes I've been thinking, oh, I wish we could be subbing Harris on right now because he was kind of a late game, last 20 minutes. Just get past the guy who's tired, But I think him playing for 60, 70 minutes, he's been doing really well. And I think, I think he's our first option there. I mean, I don't know. Maybe it's just as a left-footed player. Like, I've always thought I could play on the left or the right, like, equally as well, especially up top, not at the fullback position. But I don't think it's impossible to take a left winger and move him over. It's not too difficult. So I don't know what's our left wing depth. KDP.
That's it.
Baines,
That's it.
Mr.
Yeah,
Baines.
it's really we
Baines,
don't.
Probably out
yeah.
there on
Looks
the
like
left,
you might have
right?
start Baines.
Yeah.
I will wonder. It'll be interesting to see if some of the R2 guys like KSB get some playing time in this Leagues Cup run if we do make it out of the group. They have shortened it for sure. They've shortened the
I
tournament.
hope so.
Well,
I hope so.
now it's pretty much the first out of every group gets in through right to the quarterfinal.
Yeah, because Armis ran that team into the effing ground last year during this whole thing,
Yeah.
and that's my whole thing with this Leagues Cup is like Garber can argue all he wants about the games and Tuesday nights and all this stuff. It's the same thing with the Leagues Cup. It's like I don't really understand this apart from the monetary thing. That's a whole nother conversation that I can go into for an hour. But I'm worried they're going to get ran into the ground. And so
Yeah.
not having depth on those wings, especially in games like that, it could bite us too. I'm hoping this Manyoma guy comes in like ASAP.
Yeah,
That's where I'm at with it too.
Real.
It's like be our Michael Barrios of 2021. Like just be the guy, bro. Just be the guy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
my concern. Not knowing how good he may or may not be. And
I have no
think
idea.
It depends on, and yeah, I think that's the unknown. And all the reporting I had seen says he's leaving his club because of performance issues. And so I don't, and that's so again, who knows? This is reporting on Twitter, so you can take it with a grain of what it is, but. I would also say I think the club he's coming from, they're talking about doing a roster overhaul and different things. So that can't just be one player. So I can't put it all on him for sure. I did see some footage of him. There's a good like highlight reel of his past couple seasons on YouTube. Quality play, for him, down in Argentina, which is cool. So I think there's potential there. My concern is locking him into like a U22 tag. And that's the only thing that would be concerning to me is if he locks it in that position and then we can't use it kind of like we did Cabral. I'm like,
It's
are we
high
stuck
profile,
on and so that's my concern with that is are we moving on to another Cabral situation with a position that we're stuck on? And all the reporting I saw, it was a loan, mandatory buy or purchase option on a loan if we play him, based on appearances.
Mm-hmm.
So we play him, I don't know, 8 times between now and the next season, and we have to buy him guaranteed. That's my worry is we get into a position where we get an injury, say just a knock on one of the guys in the wing, and we've got to play him for 6 games. We have to buy him. What if he's not the best, right? And so I think I don't like those constraints on a loan deal, and especially somebody that's been reported to not be performing to his standards. So. I don't know. I'm a little skeptical, and hopefully it's not a, bad deal. I've seen good deals lately with the Rapids, which has been great. So hopefully they keep consistent and it works out. Or maybe it doesn't. Maybe it's not even somebody who's coming in and that was the poison pill of the deal. So we'll see what happens.
I worry
I do
about
think
flipping
we need
it.
winger depth.
Yeah. I worry about flipping the DP and the U22. Not that I rate a DP player higher because I do think there are really good U22 options out there, but I'm almost like this guy has to be good if we're going to be using something like that, or else it's going to be Cabral 2.0. Maybe not as bad, but just like similar situation in underutilized roster slot. That's ultimately hampering the roster.
Yep, exactly.
That's the biggest concern out of it. All of this. Now, if the Rapids can get this guy and it's a regular contract and it's not all this nonsense, then great on Poreg Smith and co. You'll never hear me say that, by the way. That is the first time I've said that in a long time. But great on them if they can do that. But Tom Bogert said it's up in the air if it's a U22, and since Cabral's out, they can turn that DP into the 4th U22. So.
Yep.
The pieces seem to align. We'll see.
All right. Yo, my homies, I think we could shift gears a bit and we have a game on the weekend. We didn't play this weekend. It was honestly a weird one to not have a game. But I think Crash and I were kind of talking about this on one of the last streams, how we've kind of just been flooded with fixtures. We were actually the highest. We had the most fixtures out of anyone else in the league up until this past weekend. So we probably have a couple of teams that are level on us with matches played. We have a pretty, I guess you could now say, even more important game coming up on the weekend based on the fact that teams in and amongst us this weekend either didn't pick up points or points were dropped. Logan, we play against Philly. Philly. Well, let me bring up the table real quick. But before I do, I mean, where are Philly at in the table, my homies?
They're the first in the East.
First,
I think
one.
they've dropped.
Yeah.
They've dropped
No.
to third. They've dropped to third after the results.
third. Okay.
Saturday.
Are
But
they?
they're on the same amount
Yeah.
of points as second place.
Got it.
Yeah, I mean,
Yo,
on Saturday we had
Logan.
favorable. Yeah.
Yeah, no, go ahead, bro. Go ahead.
Okay. On Saturday, we had some favorable results around the league. Salt Lake lost at home against Cincinnati. Woohoo.
Yeah.
And I think Portland drew, if I'm not mistaken.
They did on an Omir last stoppage time banger. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nobody
Got his first goal.
So nobody gained a whole lot of position on us in the table. Anyway.
Yeah, for sure.
Yo,
I was actually really
happy.
happy with that. It was a pretty amazing turnout for the Rapids. The best we could have hoped for, at least on Saturday.
Yeah. Do you think the Rapids, Logan, struggle with these what are they, like, interconference opponents that we don't see much?
I don't know.
Well, I mean, do we struggle more than the average MLS team would facing an opponent that they don't normally see?
For some reason, like if you look at the points distribution so far in the West and the East, one, I think there's got to have been more draws in the West because we just have less points generally, but also a lot of Western teams have been losing to Eastern teams, and dropping points against Eastern teams, like whether home or away. I mean, we've actually done pretty good so far. What we've played Charlotte and won at home.
Mm-hmm.
We played Boston,
lost to Orlando,
and we drew. Orlando, we lost at home, though.
Yep, home lost to Orlando and drew New England 3-3.
Yeah. Like we're even on games so far against Eastern Conference teams.
Mm-hmm.
However, I do believe, like, just kind of taking an eyeball guess, look at the standings. The Western Conference is doing worse against Eastern Conference teams so far. Like I think the top
does look like that, huh? It does look like the MLS is that side of the table. Just pull it up right there. There's the West. Let me scroll down a bit, my homies, on that one. I hope you guys can see this good. It might be a bit smaller since there's 4 of us on the screen. But we're sitting in 7th place with 30 points. In the middle of the pack there, my homies. I think for us, it's definitely going to be like a dangerous game. But this also has the ability or the capability to be like a banana skin peel game for Philadelphia. You know what I mean? Don't underestimate. Just like the we didn't hear no bell. Like if we see the Rapids that fight, and the Rapids that we've seen in the last couple of days, the last couple of games, where like it is a different mentality that I feel like we're seeing with this team coming out. So who knows, man? Just making some off the pitch moves and just showing signs of intent, if you will, like. That has to fire up your troops. You know what I mean? Like when you're going to go to war and you see some shit like that only fuels your passion and I guess in your desire to go out there and shoot for more. But Crash, am I overlooking it? Am I looking too much into it? Or do the Rapids have a good shot at beating, what looks like to be a formidable force in the MLS this season?
It's interesting. We're going to go to Philly, and I mean, you look at last year, right? We went to Philly Leagues Cup and ended up winning in penalties, to get it third place in Leagues Cup. So we have played there. We've been able to pull out a result out of the deal. I mean, even if there were no penalties, getting a point coming out of Philly would be a positive take. But there are some benefits right now. Philly is really light on fullbacks right now. The two of them are going to be suspended for this game on Saturday due to red cards. And they have some, their defense is a bit, and I think there's still an injury in one of their center backs. So, maybe we can be hopeful and think that their defense might be a little more challenged than they might normally be. And so maybe, with us being relatively good form on the attack, maybe we can use that to our advantage. I think I mentioned it to you a while back, but we went to DC and didn't get the result. KDP wasn't a starter, but did get one of his first features there. Philly's not far from DC, and I would imagine KDP is going to want a bit of a redemption game with his. I would assume he's going to have a crew of family there cheering him on. So that's always fun. So, I think there's some incentive there, at least for him to be a little bit, have a little bit more fight in him. So I don't know. It depends on what Rapids show up to that game, but there's potential there. But I think it's more of a, it's Phillies to lose than ours to win.
Yo, my homies, real quick. I'm sorry. Let me get Logan, you are being covered up right now. I apologize, but we have to send a massive shout out to the homie Rob Patterson, a fan of the Rapids all the way in Wales. My homie, it became official last stream. He said he's a Rapids fan, became the newest Rapids fan all the way. Big up, my homie. Philly gonna be put into a cheesesteak, baby. Look at him. Look at him already knows what's going on. My homie, get in. Get in. Well, it's actually good morning to you. A very early good morning to you out there, my homie. Be safe. And thank you for joining the Rapid stream. Big up, big up. And we got Crash saying,
Nice.
what's up to Rob?
Nice.
Jim, go ahead and hop in here, my homie. What do you think of the match? And just any type of insight you want to add to the convo on the match?
Yeah, I mean, Philadelphia is always an interesting one. I always feel like they're a really good team, but I feel like anytime the Rapids play them, it's always a good game. So it's kind of interesting. Last time they were in Chester, obviously it was Leagues Cup, which was a good result, kind of a testy game. So I expect more of that, but like Crash said, it really is heavily dependent on what version of this Rapids team comes out. If we get the dog version, then they could win. But if we get it's like the Seattle first half, like lazy, we don't know how to play, we don't know what we're doing. It's like everything's chaotic because the other team we're playing against is just better than us. Then the Rapids are gonna fall into a trap. So if it's gonna be a tough game. I don't rate Philly maybe as high as they are in the standings, but I also haven't watched Philly too much to really know kind of what they've been up to. So they could be really good, and I could just be saying stupid shit right now. But
that's how I feel about each one of my streams, Jim. So don't feel out of place, bro.
yeah, it's like oh, that team sucks, but they're like first in the East, and they have like a goal difference of like +20, and you're just like, oh, I'm a dumbass, So
yeah.
No, yeah, I did watch them last week when they played Dynamo, and granted they were at home in Houston, with it, or they were away to Houston for that game. It was a 1-1 draw between the two, and I forget the specifics on the last goal. It was Philly started off with the goal early, and then Houston equalized around half. And then from there, it was just kind of back and forth. So, if Houston can get a result from them at home, and I think it wasn't that great of a game, so I don't know, maybe they were just rotating, with league, fixture being away,
sure,
out of conference game. So maybe they didn't have their best foot forward on that one, but, they didn't look overtly dangerous in that moment. So, and I do feel like this is a winnable game. I think it's definitely going to be a challenge, but it just is really, if we can play at our best. If we can show up and play the game we played in Vancouver, at home, we're going to win. I have no doubt, because that was one of the best games I've seen that this team play, especially this season. I know we were talking, earlier about connecting passes and things. That was one of the games that you saw all of that click. Mm-hmm. If we can come off and put a performance like that, then I feel like we're gonna show that the Rapids can perform against some of the best teams in the league. But if we don't, is anybody going to be surprised? I don't think so.
No, I won't be.
I'll tell you one guy.
Be shocked.
I'll tell you one guy who is buzzing to watch this game, and it's the homie Rob Patterson. He's got his reminder set, and he asked if we're going to do a watch along so he could. The only reason I won't do that is because I don't know how to. I wouldn't know how to present that to it, but maybe instant match reaction depending on the time and the place and just the circumstances. But I'm definitely buzzing that you're happy about the game, bro. Like that, honestly, that's what's up. Honestly, that the Rapids are honestly going to be worldwide. I look at it like, and I always laugh, like I want the Rapids to have supporters clubs like elsewhere. I mean, not just the Mile High Locos, not just the C38, but how dope would it be to know that like people in other places of the world, like support the Pits and have a Pits flag hanging. You know what I mean? That's fucking badass. So
it'll be 12:30 kickoff a.m. 12:30 in the morning.
Oh, in Wales, yeah, it's 5:30 East. Yeah, 7:30 Eastern, 5:30
He can do
Mountain.
it. But I woke up at 3:30 to watch Auckland, so he can do it.
Yep.
Well, it's kind of like how I do, bro. I have to wake up at 5 a.m. to watch Spurs at the pub here. You know what I mean? So let's go. Let's go.
If Auckland's playing in Australia, I'm screwed. If they're playing in New Zealand that game, I'm fine. It's a 9:00 kickoff. But I am screwed if they play in like Western Australia. It is like 3:30. Yeah, that's rough.
Mm-hmm. Andy Dude says, would love an instant reaction vid. I think we've done maybe one or two instant match reactions or something like that. But something I definitely want to do, my homies. Real quick, I'm going to go with a prediction for the match, and I'm going to start with the homie Logan.
Sure. Well, first I got to ask Jim, you lived in the Berg for a little bit. Is there any of that city rivalry, cross-state rivalry hate that you have?
No, because I lived in Philly too for a little bit, Doylestown, which is in Bucks County outside of Philly. So I was like forced into the Eagles, Phillies, Flyers, 76ers fandom for a little bit. And I didn't go to games, but I would go to a lot of like watch parties and stuff. I hated the Steelers and Penguins, so I don't really have any Pittsburgh affinities. I like the Riverhounds though, and I don't think the Riverhounds have any sort of rivalry attached to the Union. And maybe a little bit of U.S. Open Cup action over the years, but I don't have anything towards Philly. Most of their fans are just raging scumbags, but it is what it is. I said it on air, sorry. But if you ever watch a Phillies game on TV, you'll notice guys on the side stands, like where the batter view is for the camera, just screaming their asses off, So that's Philadelphia for you.
All right. Well, anyway, match prediction. I'm gonna. No, you're good. You're good. I asked you.
I'll ramble.
No. Well, okay. With the Pennsylvania connection, like my best friend lives in Pittsburgh, and he's kind of made me a Steelers fan because I used to watch football.
Oh no!
But
I gotta change.
Riverhounds are kind of my USL team too.
Yes.
I've been to a couple of their games.
Yes.
Anyway, match prediction for Saturday. I think a 1-1 or a 2-2. I don't think we get the win. I think that Philly scores, but we're going to keep our run of form going into do we have Leagues Cup right after that? We have a week off for Leagues Cup. Yeah, I think we're going to keep our scoring form, 2-2.
My homie Crash. What about a prediction from you?
This is what I'm thinking. I want to see us just go full attack, and I want to see a 10-goal game like we just saw R2, and just I want to see 6 goals, and we just want to concede at least one less than Philly. No, I think you're probably right, Logan. I think it's 1-1, 2-2. I kind of feel like 2-2. I think we have been pretty solid in our attack, at least with creating chances, and it seems like we are starting to find the back of the net. So I think 2-2 is a good one. I could see us also, maybe it's a 2-1 loss, depending on how we show up. But yeah, I'm hoping for the best. I think a draw would be great. We do have the opportunity to win this, and as easy as I say it's a loss, it could be a 3-1 win as well. So most likely it's somewhere in between there. So 2-2 draw is probably where I'm at as well.
Jays, I'm going to go for you, bro, but I'm going to mix it up a bit too as well. And I'm going to ask you, do you think the Rapids are going to stick with the same 11? Well, I guess we can, depending on what the Cheeto will be out, obviously. But let's insert Murphy there where Cheeto was at. What front line are you going with, bro? You going to stick with the same formation, same players? And to wrap that up, bro, what about a prediction?
Well, I'm no tactician. If I had the choice, I wouldn't play any of these formations, but that's my football manager logic kicking in. Yeah, I would say keep it mostly the same. With the weeks off that they've had, 2 weeks now, or I don't know, week and a half, whatever it's going to be. Yeah, you have those rested players, so why not go for it again, run it back? I would say my score prediction. I would say good result 2-2. Realistic result 3-1 loss. Bad results a 5-0 stomping. And kind of the reason I say that is because this team is just inconsistent for me. They could have one really good game against a good team, but then play a shit team and just totally play terrible. So I don't really have the faith in calling out results right now. I would say that I would be satisfied with a draw here, but I would be expecting a loss, but a big loss would be disappointing.
Yeah.
Big loss would be me sounding off on Twitter about Jorge Smith and roster dynamics and all the rest of it. But
Well, you got to watch this space, bro, because we might be doing an instant match reaction. And if it's going to go down like that, bro, I'm tossing
no,
you the
it won't
link,
go down
homie.
like that. I have a little bit of not media training, but I know when and when not to say certain things.
Oh, that's hilarious. Good take, bro. He covered all bases on there. Crash, what a political answer that one was, bro. Tell me
It's
that.
as political as it gets. It's like Jorge
I
Smith
liked
said it
it, bro.
himself. I mean, it's as
Yeah,
good as it is.
Yep.
Shout out
I
Jorge.
agree.
Shout out Jorge.
I think look, it's gonna be a tough match. We're going up against a big opponent. However, we went up
How do we lose them?
We went up.
and we know how that one turned out.
We lost you for a sec. We went up what?
You know how it happened when we played against Vancouver, one of the best teams in the league, right? They were beating us, and they were at the head of the Western Conference, and I feel like we took it to them. Whether they were a depleted squad or not, I kind of feel like, based off what I'm hearing, they might be in the same position, Philly. You know what I mean? Not necessarily up to 100%. So if we could take advantage of that, man, I'm definitely all for it. I think the Rapids will pull a win out. I'm going 2-1. I'm going 2-1. I think the Rapids were, how can I say this? Like, I feel like our defense is either going to be hot or cold. You know what I mean? And tomorrow, when we play, where we on? Damn, we still got a couple of days to go. I'm thinking we're close to the weekend, my homies. When we do play,
I wish.
yeah, no, I think, Stefan's going to have to step up huge, my homies. We're going to have nice, solid backline display, but we will leak a goal, but we will pick up 2, my homies. I think so. Fancy the Pitties to win. Right, real quick, Logan, who does Rob need to look out for?
I think the service to Navajo, our number 9 up top, it's been good lately, and it's got to stay good. Look for the wingers and see how they play. Calvin Harris on the right, Ted Cudi Pietro on the left. They're up and coming players, so to speak. They've kind of just broken into the starting 11. Teddy was bought from another club in the offseason, and Calvin Harris has been around for a while. But they were key players in our last 2 games. So we want to keep that form high for them. As well as just if Cheeto Awaziam is out at center back, which most likely will be the case. I think the transfer window ends that day, right?
It opens on the 24th. So
He's done. He's
2
in
days before.
France.
Yeah, he's out.
Yeah, he's
like
in
he's not
France
out.
getting
You're right.
haircuts, and he's done.
Yeah, you're right. So, I mean, look to see how our center backs do and our fullbacks do. Our fullbacks have been a little shaky, especially on the left side. Like, I think that position's up for grabs between 3 guys, really. So look to see how our defense shapes up, and then if we can attack. Midfield, I think we're solid.
I do too.
And we have been lately and pretty much most of the season.
Yeah, once Armas finally put Cole back into that double pivot, things got a lot better. So I'm happy to see him kind of realize he just is better to have depth at the midfield than to try to play all those guys in positions they're not best at.
Yeah. And
Dude, I have to know now. I have to know this now. Jays, do you fancy seeing Cole Bassett playing a bit deeper, or did you fancy him a bit higher?
I've always liked Cole Bassett deeper. I've always been a Cole Bassett deeper guy, and I understand that maybe back in the day he was trained to be like a higher attacking midfielder, or his more natural position through the coach's eye was attack. But I think he's damn good in that double pivot, deep midfielder kind of role. But also he kind of has the ability to bring that attack when he wants to into play. So it's like, I almost feel like that position gives him a lot of freedom that the Rapids really utilize. And so
Yeah.
I want to see him back there. I do. I always have. I don't like when Armas puts him at like left attacking mid and
Oh yeah,
tosses him out over here to go, fill in a space over there, because that's what we did back in the day. Like, no, like let's utilize these players where they're best, and I think he's best there. I really do.
Yeah, one of the things that I've noticed, with that Cole does really well in that midfield is he drives with the ball forward.
Drives.
Right? Like he gets that ball, he'll see the space where some are looking for that pass. He sees that space and immediately closes the gap. He immediately advances that ball forward. And where like Ronan's, that's not his first thought. That's not Ollie's first thought. That's not Josh's first thought. And so, I like having that option between the two, but Ronan will take the ball and put it at somebody's feet from, across the field, which is great. But where Cole will take that ball and just force past people. He will find that ability to get forward with the ball at his feet, and keep that possession. And then we're taking passes in a dangerous place where we're not trying to like work our way into it. He just forces the ball in there. So, you see the same thing from KDP. And so I think, having those two guys, driving that ball forward when they see that space is going to be,
they're drawing
key.
fouls too.
I think
they're drawing good
right.
fouls. Yeah,
absolutely. So I'm excited to keep him in that role. And I think you're seeing better play from everyone at that way in that form. So, I think that'll be a for Rob. Those are some definitely key guys to keep an eye out for.
Logan. Before we go, who's in your opinion, if we're gonna play Cole Bassett, keep him there in that, I guess, double pivot, if you will? Who do you think complements him the best, bro? Would it be a Larraz? Would it be a Tencio? Or in your opinion, is it Connor Ronan?
See, I was talking to somebody about this at the watch party on Wednesday. I was saying, I think if kind of my ideal, what I'm starting to see, and it's probably like a good tactic. I'm seeing if we're playing a team that we have to be more sit back defensive, we end up playing Bassett and Ronan. And I think that's great with Bassett's play style, like more of that 8, that like Steven Gerrard box to box player. Because Ronan will sit back and cover him. And he's experienced and like he's in the right spot a lot of the time. And then when we kind of have more freedom, have to worry less about defense, play Ollie and Atencio and let them, because they push up higher just generally. And almost in that case, you kind of have Ollie playing higher most likely, and then Atencio playing back like by default. But I like Bassett and Ronan. I think they're standard modes of operation like complement each other well.
This what I don't know, man. So the Spurs actually played at the Dick in 2015 against the MLS All-Stars. So that's probably the closest they were ever possibly going to get or will get. And for me, it was one of the most surrealist days of my life. You're talking about, I got married earlier that day. And we went to the match, so I'm just buzzing already, just off of like getting married, going to see like the team that I freaking love, you know what I mean? Yeah, so July 29th, we're coming up, bro. You remind me of my anniversary day, bro.
Well, I have to say you're a lucky man if on your wedding day you were able to go see the Spurs play at the Dick. So definitely
what a wild
unique lady you got there.
Yeah, absolutely, homie. But she also does know that Spurs is the biggest love of my life. I'm not gonna hide that, my homie. You know what I mean? So that's part of what makes it click. You know what I mean? Is there is that understanding? Is this Peter?
Yes, this is Peter. This is my little brother, Peter.
Peter.
Yes.
Peter Brew is going to be the official beer of the Mile High Hospital, my homies. Let's fucking go. Let's go.
Peter Brew.
Rob Patterson. The Peter Brew. Rob, I appreciate you stopping by, you Yito. Appreciate you. Were you not at the game to taste the Peter Brews? The rapid, creme de la rapid, man.
Oh, me?
Yeah, you were there, weren't you? You tried those?
Yeah, of course. Of course I've had Peter Brews.
Yeah, those are the official beer of the Mile High Hospital. So Rob, when you order your case, my homie, make sure you use the discount code HOMIES for a 10% discount at checkout. Hey, my homies, that's where we're going to leave this episode. I have fun with you filthy animals, my homies. And everybody that decided to tune in, please like this stream. Consider subscribing if for some reason you aren't already subscribed. And big up to the panel, my homies. And big up to everybody in the chat. Let's go. Up the fucking pits. Okay.
Matchday jumpy, boots on turf, coys in the cami, I'm putting in work. Cool like smoke from the capo's perch, south back shelling man a vibe to berserk. See through at 8, flash get wave, locos loco that can't be tamed. Burgundy and blue run deep in veins, rapids blood it floods.